Hey there everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be talking about the writing process and how we can be more intentional with the peer editing aspect and how we can scaffold that process for our students. Hey there literacy lovers, I'm Taluka, your go-to guide for building a love of literacy in your classroom, one word at a time. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below for us. Now, as someone who loves to write, I totally get that writing is a process that requires a lot of revision and refinement. But I also know that it can be tough for students to approach editing in a thoughtful and intentional way. So that's where scaffolded editing comes in. Now, scaffolded editing is a great way to break down the editing process for our students into smaller, more manageable steps and provide support and guidance to students along the way. Now, by doing so, we can help students feel more confident and capable in their editing abilities and also ensure that they're more thoughtful about their choices while they are editing. So one way to scaffold editing is to give students a checklist of items to look for when they're editing their own work. This can include things like checking for supporting details, checking for a closing sentence, things like that. If you tuned into my video from a few weeks ago about the writing rubrics and the student publishing pages, you'll remember that at the bottom of my student publishing pages, I like to include a little checklist for students so that as they're writing their piece, they're publishing their piece, or even drafting still, they can kind of be checking their work as they go. So another way to scaffold editing is to actually have students engage in peer editing. Now, I know in the past, like with my third graders, anytime I asked them to trade papers with a friend and then edit that friend's paper, they would read it once, maybe add a few edits, and then just be like, okay, I'm done, I did it. So I realized quickly that I needed to give them more of a guide when editing, and I needed to hold their hands a little bit more. So this is where I came up with the idea of incorporating a game called musical papers. Musical papers can be done with any writing piece, and it's great for teaching students how to polish up their editing skills. While they're playing, students are actually editing their classmates' writing in an organized, focused, and super structured way. So here's how the game works. Each student starts by putting their paper in front of them on their own desk. Then they pull out one colored pencil, and that is their designated editing pencil. Now, it's important that it's colored, and I'll explain why in a minute. But once the kids are ready, they stand up behind their chairs, they tuck in their chairs, they leave their paper right there on the desk, and they wait for music to start playing. When the music starts, the kids have to travel around the room in between the desks. They can dance if they want to, like musical chairs. And then, as soon as the music stops, they have to sit down at the desk that they are closest to. The first thing they have to do before they do anything else is write their own name on their friend's paper using their colored pencil. So that's why it's important that it's colored, because then you will know that Johnny is orange. So any edits made on, Elizabeth's paper with orange comes from Johnny. Okay, so it's an accountability piece. Now, instead of having the students edit anything and everything, I tell students exactly what they're editing for in that round. So I created a PowerPoint slide deck, and on each slide in the deck, there's a specific editing task. So there are slides for making sure there's a title that's capitalized, starting each sentence with a capital letter, ending each sentence with punctuation, checking for commas, capitalizing proper nouns, using transition words, spelling, indenting, and overall feedback. So each slide has a built-in timer to keep everyone on track and to keep everyone focused on that specific skill on the slide or task on the slide. So now your student is at the desk with that with their peers' paper in front of them, and then they've got the PowerPoint slide up showing them exactly what they need to edit for. You start that timer, they read through their friend's paper, and they edit specifically for the task that's on that PowerPoint slide. Once the timer is up, you say, okay, boys and girls, grab your colored pencil, stand up behind the chair, tuck in your friend's chair, and then you start playing music, and they repeat the process. When they sit down again at the next chair, you go to the next slide in your PowerPoint deck that tells them what to edit for next. And you go through all the different rounds, typically around like 8 or 9 rounds, and then by the end of it, the kids have had multiple opportunities to edit different papers, each time with a specific targeted focus. So this activity is on my TPT shop, and it's editable, so you can change out the tasks on each slide. I'll link that down below for you if you want to check it out. So as we wrap up, it's important to remember that editing is a process. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes practice too. The more students edit, the more they'll be able to make meaningful revisions and become more intentional about their writing choices. So that's it for today. I hope this editing strategy is helpful as you work to become more intentional about student editing and peer editing in your classroom. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.